With the Hunger Games being back on everybody's minds after the film release of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I thought I'd do a deep dive into every Hunger Games that ever happened in the history of Panem. Oh, and before I forget, please subscribe if you like this type of content, as it's something new I'm trying out. Anyway, let's get into this. From the first game until the 9th, we honestly don't know that much about the details of the games. We do know that Dr. Ghoul was the head game maker and that the tributes were held in the Peacekeeper stables until the games began. Then they would be locked in the Capitol Arena, originally an amphitheater that was used for more normal entertainment, and they would lock the doors until one tribute remained, basically. The dead bodies would remain in the arena until this point, and the games usually only lasted for a day at most. Unlike future games, mutts, the genetically engineered animals that are popularized in the later games, are not used, or at least aren't used to our knowledge. These games may have been popular at the start, but had heavily declined in viewership by the 9th, which is the reason for the Capitol taking a new approach for the 10th. Thanks to the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we know basically everything that went down in the 10th annual Hunger Games. It was the first game to have mentors for each of the tributes, using the top 24 Capitol Academy students as these, opposed to the victors of the districts as we see in later games. Thanks to Coriolanus Snow, the game also introduced many other things that would be popularized in the later games. These include betting on the tributes, sponsors and sponsorship gifts, such as the water,
I'm just sending water,
and interviews that would allow the Capitol to become more attached to the tributes. The recordings of the 10th game were all destroyed due to Ghoul marking it as an embarrassing failure though. After the previous year's success at bringing back spectatorship to the games, the game makers had more work to do. The concept of food packages being sent to the winning district, monetary prizes, and the victor's village all came about this year. It was also the first year to have a victory tour after the games, which featured that year's winner, Mags Flanagan. Not much is known about the games from 12 to 24, but it is likely that they continued in a similar fashion to the 11th. Whilst there are many theories, I won't be reporting on them here as this video is for strictly canon events. In the 25th year of the Hunger Games, the Capitol decided to introduce a ruling that every 25 years there would be a twist to the reaping. This year the districts had to elect their own tributes. This is genuinely sickening to think about because it turned communities against each other massively. The victor of the 25th Hunger Games is unnamed, but we do know that they died before the third quarter quell. From 26 to 37 we again know nothing about these games, but I can imagine they were probably pretty brutal, especially since Capitol technology in regards to controlling the arena and also within genetic engineering had increased in this time. Whilst not being mentioned in the books, the 38th games were referenced briefly by the Capitol Couture, a website that Lionsgate made when promoting the original quadrilogy of the movies. All we know is that the victor was from District 5 and her name was Porter Millicent Tripp. While she won her games, she did sustain a broken neck and had to wear a neck brace during her victory tour. The victor of the 45th games was Chaff, who lost his left arm below the elbow during it. Whilst we again don't know much about how he sustained this injury, we do know that he refused a prosthetic from the Capitol. Now for the 50th games, this is a game we know a lot about, or at least we know a lot more about it than any of the other non-centric games. This is the second quarter quell where the victor was one young Hamish Abernathy. For this quarter quell, the twist was that instead of the usual one boy and one girl from each district being reaped, 2 of each would instead have to go into the games. This meant 47 tributes would have to die for the winner to become victorious. This game had an active volcano, was full of poisonous plants and creatures containing many mutts, and had a force field surrounding it. However, this force field didn't just stop you leaving, it bounced things back in the direction it came but at a significant force. Hamish won the 50th Hunger Games by using this to his advantage, killing the last remaining tribute, a girl from District 1, by using her own axe against her. She threw the axe at him, it hit the force field, and it boomeranged into her instead. Many theorized that this use of the arena against his opponents led to Hamish's family being targeted by Snow. However, there is no confirmation of this other than Hamish having no living family in the books. And now we're gonna have to skip over to the 62nd games. This year the winner was Enabaria. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. She was a volunteer in careers tribute. She is noted as killing one of the other tributes by ripping open his throat with her teeth, which is probably why she later got her teeth surgically altered in the Capitol, so that each of her teeth were fangs inlaid with gold. In the 63rd games the winner was Gloss, a volunteer from District 1. It is very likely he teamed up with the other careers and won by pure strength and determination. And in the 64th games, Gloss's sister Kashmir volunteered and ended up also winning the Hunger Games. See, I personally would not be doing that. Like, I understand one-upping your siblings, but if I was 18, I'd not be volunteering to go into a deathmatch that I had avoided my entire childhood. Maybe that's just me though. The 65th Hunger Games featured Panem's youngest ever victor. At only 14, Finnick Adair managed to win his games, being a career tribute who was adept with spears and knives. However, due to a mixture of his looks and charms, he gained a rapid succession of sponsors. He even got the most expensive sponsor gift ever given, a trident. Once he had received received this, Finnick managed to net his opponents and stab them to death with his trident. After the games, Finnick was still sought after by the capital, and President Snow would sell his body to those willing to pay. He didn't reveal this to anyone until the second rebellion against the capital. Skipping one over to the 67th Hunger Games, we once again only know what was mentioned on the Capital Couture site. These games were won by District 1's Augustus Braun, who Panem hailed their favourite son. And that's kind of all we know about it. In the 70th Hunger Games, we know little of the starting point of the arena. However, we learned that Annie Cresta, District 4's female tribute, witnessed her fellow District tribute get beheaded and became traumatized. She hid away until a dam broke in the capital, flooding the entire arena. As the only tribute from the fishing district, Annie managed to outlast the others, winning purely from her ability to swim. The 71st Games were won by Joanna Mason from District 7. She did this by pretending to be weak and timid so that the other tributes would underestimate her. And we don't know who won the 72nd Games, but we do know that this was Seneca Crane's first year as head game maker. The 73rd Games were won by an unnamed District 2 boy who was a career tribute. In the final battle, he used a brick to kill the remaining tribute, a boy from District 10. And the 74th Hunger Games are the ones that Katniss and Peeta managed to win. It's the only games to ever have two victors. The arena consisted of woodland environment and a meadow with a river running through it. It was won by the duo instead of the usual sole victor, when Katniss and Peeta threatened to both eat deadly nightlock berries, which would kill them. The games need a victor, so Snow allowed them both to live. However, this would lead to a series of uprisings against the capital, as it was viewed as a public sign of rebellion. The 75th Hunger Games was the third quarter quell and the last Hunger Games to take place in Panem. Instead of reaping from all the 12 to 18-year-olds within each district, the tributes were chosen from the existing pool of victors. It is likely that President Snow rigged this quell to kill off the rebellions that were happening across the nation. He believed that getting rid of Katniss Everdeen was the easiest solution to this. The arena was extremely complex compared to previous ones. It featured 12 sections, all identical in appearance, with different events happening hourly across the arena. Some of these included poisonous mist, jabberjays, and monkey butts. The only source of fresh water was in the trees, and the food sources were limited. However, the games were cut short after the third day when the rebel attack began. After the rebellion overtook the capital, the 7 remaining victors voted on whether or not to have a Hunger Games where the tributes were reaped out of the capital officials' children. And whilst this was approved by the majority, it didn't happen. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, leave a like and comment. Tell me what you want me to talk about. I haven't done videos like this before, so I'm hoping this goes okay. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye!